A school district of the future prepares lifelong learners to demonstrate mastery of 21st century competencies that will equip them for continuous success.
DeKalb County School District is a leader in K-12 and early childhood education and has developed a comprehensive master plan to ensure school improvements are made throughout the DCSD community.
Students can reach their fullest potential and excel when schools are well maintained and capital resources are up to date.
Whether it's state-of-the-art learning spaces, our 7 robotic programs, renovated and innovative schools, or technology devices for every child,
these resources and investments not only benefit the DCSD community, but also the taxpayers of DeKalb County.
A top priority for DCSD is supporting social and emotional skills of young learners and their families, and our Early Learning Center addresses the readiness gap.
Every 5 years, we assess DCSD schools and facilities, technology equipment, and examine construction to address overcrowding and to accommodate growth so that DCSD scholars can thrive. To achieve and excel, we provide technology at your fingertips with anytime, anywhere access, infrastructure enhancements, business system integration, and instructional tools to support top-of-the-line connectivity and cybersecurity, and a family impact hub that meets diverse families where they are.
So, how do we pay for these general improvements to impact student achievement and positively affect the DCSD community?
E-SPLOST is a 1-penny sales tax that allows school districts to fund their capital improvements. The voters of DeKalb County will be asked to extend the 1-penny sales tax for another 5 years. This education special purpose local option sales tax is critical to building our children's future and equipping our community for success.
Good afternoon or good evening, everyone. We do have more than a quorum, which is awesome. So I want to thank everybody for coming in on time. If we can, I'm not sure who's going to share their screen to show the agenda, but I can. Just give me a second. Okay, thank you very much, Sabrina. I was going to ask that question, so thank you for providing that answer. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, awesome. Before we get started, I do see the interim superintendent in. If she would like to just kind of unmute herself and come on camera and speak to the advisory committee, that would be so much appreciated.
I think I'm here. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the invitation and for the Citizens Advisory Committee. I just wanted to come in and hear the discussion. I will be a listener tonight, as I want to hear the types of things that you guys are discussing and the things that come up as concerns, things that we may be able to address for you, things that we may be able to clarify. But I just really wanted to be here to be a partner in this work with you. So, I hope that we have a very productive meeting today. And again, I just thank you so much for the work that you are doing as members of this committee to help us with our capital projects.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Tinsley. Do appreciate you taking the time to spend with us. And we always have a productive meeting, so rest assured that that will happen.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear it.
So let me go back to sharing my screen. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, awesome. We want to obviously welcome all of our visitors, and we do have, I see about 4 visitors in the attendees section. So welcome to our June 22, 2022 meeting. Next on our agenda is review and approval of the June 22, 2022 meeting agenda. Are there any corrections? And if no corrections or no additions, can we, by general consent, if there are no objections, agree to the agenda as distributed and as being presented? All right, so hearing no objections, the meeting agenda is approved. Next on our agenda is review and approval of the minutes from our May 25th, 2022 meeting. The meeting minutes were distributed to the committee members. Can we, again, by general consent, if there are no objections, can we agree to the meeting minutes as distributed for May 25th, 2022, if there are no objections? All righty, I'm loving it. Hearing no objections, the meeting minutes from May 25th, 2022 are now approved as distributed. The next on our agenda is discuss follow-up matters from the prior meeting. And first is 4A, the report on the E-SPLOST items presented at the June board meeting.
All right, so there were 3 items. I don't know if y'all can see me or not. I did turn the camera on, but all right, so there are 3 items there. The first was for architectural and engineering or design services for a major building system replacement project at Henderson Mill Elementary School. That was for $312,000. The second item was for a general contractor for a window replacement at Laurel Ridge Elementary School. The contractor is Passion, or it's also SN Nielsen and Associates, $1,582,800. And then the last item was our first ESSER or CARES 3 project. This is the replacement of playground equipment at I had it one time, it was 30 plus schools. The ones, and I'll go through the list. It's Allgood, Avondale, Bob Mathis, Briar Lake, Brockett, Browns Mill, Chestnut, E.L. Miller, Eagle Woods, E.L. Bowie, Flat Rock, Flat Shoals, Hawthorne, Hightower, Huntley Hills, Idlewood, Jolly, Livesey, Marbuck, Midvale, Montclair, Montgomery, Murphy Candler, Narvey Harris, Oakview, Oak Cliff, Pine Ridge, Princeton, Robert McNair, DLA, Shadow Rock, Snapfinger, Stone Mountain, Stoneview, Wadsworth, Woodridge, and Winbrook. So those are the schools that are getting the some new playground equipment. And those are the 3 items that we had for 4A. Do you want me to just roll right into 5?
That will be wonderful.
All right.
But before you do, can I just, I need to, and I apologize. The meeting was called to order at 6:06.
Okay. So the 3 that I read are also the 3 contract items that were awarded. The first being to Corrigan and Associates for design services at Henderson Mill. Second is window replacement services at Laurel Ridge, went to FH Passion. And the third, playground equipment installation services, goes to Play Power at multiple schools. So that is 4A and 5.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Richard.
Sure.
Are there any questions in regards to those items that we just discussed or that was just presented? I'm sorry. Okay. Hearing none, we will now go to 6, review of the community feedback collected from the E-SPLOST committee email address. Daniel?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. We received 2 emails. One was a follow-up to an email that was sent in April. Another one is a new email. First email, the follow-up, was regarding information about finding out expenditures or how much revenue the E-SPLOST brings in every month. Richard replied, the information can be found in Appendix D of the monthly status reports. We are currently receiving about 11 million per month. Main contributor, actually the only contributor is sales tax on any items sold in the county. However, the district does not see where the sales tax is coming from: restaurants, gas stations, retail stores, etc. The new email is a question about E-SPLOST 5 Project 2235. Dear E-SPLOST Advisory Committee, could you provide clarification on the status of E-SPLOST 5 Project 22435, New Dunwoody Chambly Elementary School? The February 2021 MSR shows the current finish as being July 29, 2022. The March 2021 MSR shows the current finish being July 21, 2023. Yesterday, June 16, 2022, I drove by the site. The ground has not been disturbed. There is 0 sign of progress. There are 2 questions. One, what happened between February 2021 and March 2021 to cause the current finish date to be delayed almost 1 year? And 2, is June 21st, 2023 still a realistic current finish date? That is the gist of the email.
And I will, Daniel, I will reply to all of those. I think I have those 2 plus 2 others that I need to address. And I'll reply to those this week.
Thanks, sir. Madam Chair, those are the only emails that we received since our last monthly meeting.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Vice Chair. So next on our agenda is the MSR review. Mel, I will stop sharing my screen so that you can share.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll take this opportunity to, there we go, should be sharing my screen correctly. We'll do a quick page turn of the MSR, hopefully benefit the new committee members as well. We'll blow it up a little bit. We do have the region map color-coded, and tables and reports in the document match that color coding where appropriate. Table of contents, of course. And page 1 and 2 speak to the funding that we received from GISFIC through our GADOE reimbursement process. And for this month of May, GISFIC reimbursements totaled $585,446.40. And that was for the Miller Grove Middle School project from SPLOST 4. SPLOST 4 GADOE reimbursements in total to date is approximately $84.2 million. So that's good news. Table 1 provides funding information for SPLOST 4. No change to SPLOST 4 tax receipts, of course, that period is over. We mentioned the DOE reimbursements of approximately $84.2 million and the total to date. Table 2 reflects SPLOST 5 funding, and funding continues to trend well above expectations. Right now, total funding collected is $800.7 million to date, and that includes $660 million in sales tax versus $581 planned for the period. So we're operating 110% of budget, which is good. This tally does include sales tax revenues that were transferred in from SPLOST 2 and 3 per board action in April and May. And that $660 million also includes $12.2 million in tax receipts collected for the period of May. Table 3, SPLOST 4 expenditures held steady at $555.7 million. And SPLOST 5 expenditures are up to 270.7 million. That includes about 9.2 million from the last report. On chart 1, you're able to see the actual expenditures compared to planned commitments, funding received, and planned funding. And there's the 555.7 million that we mentioned from table 1. Table 2 shows you similar information for SPLOST 5. And there's your 270.7 million that we spoke to for SPLOST 5. Table 4, not much change, obviously, for SPLOST 4 projects, and that includes the carryover projects that are listed on table 8, by the way. Obviously, most businesses occurring in SPLOST 5. This table shows you the breakdown of project budgets, commitments, and expenditures by project phase. And there's that 270.7 million as of the end of May. Table 6 shows you the budget, commitment, and expenditure information broken down by region. And that 270.7 million, as you can see, represents approximately 43% of the total current budget of 630.3 million. Just a reminder, region 0, district-wide, represents those non-construction project expenditures, as well as construction project expenditures that are bundled into multiple projects that are bundled. That is to say, multiple regions are represented by a single project. And as a note, we've added Appendix E in March of 2022 to break down those bundled projects individually so you can track the individual expenditure by project per region, even though the overall project is bundled. We also added note 2 on page 8 to describe the increase in the budget by approximately 69.3 million to get to the 630.3 million, all approved by the Board of Education in April and May. And all that business is reflected in the current MSR. I think we're still working to move the $80 million from program contingency to the new Cross Keys High School project. That is remaining. We do report on our cost performance and our schedule performance, and you can see here relative to our cost performance, the CPR ratio is equal to the estimate at complete divided by the current budget. Basically speaking, if the estimate at complete, what we think the project will cost at the end of the day, is less than or equal to the current budget, then the report shows green. If the estimate at complete is between the current budget and 5%, then the project shows amber. And if the estimate at completion is greater than the current budget plus 5%, the report shows red. So let's quickly take a look at the summary table for that cost performance ratio. The only project in SPLOST 5 inventory that has any reporting problems is the 60335 account. It's labeled district salary, and we know that the district analyst is reviewing that account for reporting issues. We don't think there's any real problem with the money, just the way that the system's reporting out. So they're still working on that. I mentioned Table 8 provides the detailed cost information for all SPLOST 4 projects. Shaded lines indicate that the projects are completed or closed out. We're approaching almost 100% expenditures for SPLOST 4, notwithstanding Hightower Elementary. We're installing gym HVAC and new HVAC equipment there, and that is expected to finish up this summer. We do have a break line between construction projects and district managed projects, and Table 9 shows that similar data for SPLOST 5 projects, current budget, expenditures, and the EAC, as well as the cost performance ratio You can see there in green, as reported on the summary table for everything except that 60635 account DCSD salary. Tables 10A through 10H provide that same information from tables 8 and 9, but it's sorted by region. And it's also sorted by project name, so you don't have to know the project number to find your project. You can just look for example, playground replacements. And there's a break line again between the construction projects and the non-construction district managed projects. I should point out that the color coding for tables 10A through 10H matches the color coding from your district map at the top of the report, so it should be easy to find. Again, all of our CPRs, our cost performance ratios are green for the construction projects, so we're in good shape there. Table 11 summarizes your scheduled performance data, and we did report last period and the period prior that a number of projects had slipped. Generally speaking, the Lakeside and Chamblee projects were delayed slightly because of conflicts with the location of the construction work and access to portables or other school facilities. Chamblee is essentially complete and Lakeside will finish this summer. And then the balance of the projects are delayed as a function of the board decision not to currently approve the E-SPLOST 5 project with adjustments from February, March, and April, or project designs being delayed due to those similar projects with adjustments not being approved. We are, however, pushing these projects forward individually because they were officially approved in February 2020 in the program realignment and or December 2020. So they are on the books. We believe the board expects them to be done. We're working closely with Mr. Boyd and Mr. Hans Williams from planning and cost programming to make sure that we can push these projects through. Table 12 provides the scheduled dates in detail for SPLOST 4. And table 13 provides the detailed scheduled dates for SPLOST 5. The projects you see in red here are those reported on the summary table 11, previously mentioned. We do break out the schedule reports by region. And again, tables 14A through H provide that schedule report data by region, sorted by project name, so they're easy to find. There's E, F, region 7. And then table 15 provides a listing of the completed and closed out projects.
Hey, Mel.
Yes, Kathy.
I'm sorry. Can we go back and look? I want to see some. I see some red, and I'm not liking that.
Correct. We recognize that those projects are, as we indicated on table 11, a function of the SPLOST 5 project adjustment lists that was not approved by the board in February or April. We are, as I mentioned, advancing each of these projects one by each for the direction of Mr. Boyd and Mr. Williams. So a good catch, and we're working them as best we can. We did mention that table 15 carries your SPLOST 4 and SPLOST 5 completed and closed out projects. And Appendix A through E carry specific information. Appendix A provides your SPLOST 4 detailed program information. So description of the project, budget status, start and finish dates, as well as the scope description for all of your SPLOST 4 carryover projects. That's a bundle. And Appendix B carries that same information for SPLOST 5 projects. We also currently, for SPLOST 5, typically add current activity detail. So anything that you might need to know relative to that project's progress today, you have a little detail to tell you what's going on. Appendix C provides you with your funding information. If I can get there, we've got a lot of detail here. Appendix C provides you with your funding information. So you've got your sales tax funding, your bond funding, and your GADOE reimbursements. And this table shows you the planned versus the actual received for each month on the program, starting in July of 2017 up through where we are to end of this report, May 2022. Appendix D provides a summary of your funding commitments and expenditures. So your combined funding planned versus your actuals, and your commitments planned versus actuals, and then your expenditures for SPLOST 5. So when you total up SPLOST 5 through the end of May, you see your 270.7 million that we looked at on tables 2 and chart 2. And then I mentioned Appendix E, which is the detail for table 6, which is your project roll-up by region. So on this table, it explodes that region 0 business so that you can see the multiple locations where a particular project might be working on. Typical projects that fall into that category, Chair Blakeney, are fencing, sprinklers, athletic track and field, for example, spread across multiple regions. And that's detail equal to 270.7 million, so we're good there. Quick recap, this is an excerpt from table 6. It shows you the count without the dollars. Effectively with 15 in construction, 16 completed, 8 and 19 in design, we've got approximately 58 projects in the pipeline. So that would suggest that we'll actually be able to get them finished. But now they're in the pipeline. In terms of photo highlights, I want to share a few. This is your Cedar Grove High School auditorium project. Made good progress. We are racing to the finish line to be complete July 31st. ADA restroom upgrades, for example, at Kelly Lake Elementary, are progressing nicely. This is early in the month. This will be later in the month as restrooms actually take shape. And I mentioned the Hightower Elementary Gym HVAC project. That project is off to a good start, and I believe that the units have been hung, maybe 80%. I have to double check on the exact amount. So good progress there at Hightower. We expect that to complete as planned. And at Towers High School, you may recall a comment about a change order last period for blasting of rock that was in the field, interfering with the installation of the new field. This is a snapshot of in time of the rock being blasted. That was completed. Backfill is completed, and that project is back underway. Well, that's it.
Okay, are there, excuse me, are there any questions for Mel in regards to the NSR report?
Yes, I do have 2 questions. This is Lisa Wright. Good evening.
Hello, Ms. Wright. My
first question is regarding table 1 on the SPLOST for funding. When do you anticipate receiving the Georgia DOE reimbursements, the approximately 2.8 million from SPLOST 4?
I'm sorry, you said we're expecting 2.8 million?
We still have 2.8 million from, you said the actual receipts collected is 84.2 million. We're expecting to get 87. So the difference is at 2.8 million. When do
Yeah,
you see
that's-
us receiving that? And
Understood. That's the function of the entire team closing out the project, getting approval from the board to submit the application for reimbursement to JDOE, and then that actually coming back from JISFIC. So it's a bit of a lengthy process, but we'd expect to wrap up most of the SPLOST 4 business in the next 3 to 6 months.
so I have the same question for our SPLOST 5. I noticed we haven't received any of our reimbursements. So can you just give us some, is it that same thing?
Yeah, it's a timing issue. I would have to defer to Dr. Hightower, who manages that process for us. But yeah, she has a tracking log. She might be able to give us a little bit more information on what that timing might look like. Of course, it's a function of when we're actually able to finish the construction of the project and officially close the project out financially, which then allows the district, Dr. Hightower, to produce the paperwork that I just described previously. So it'll be a number of
Yeah, I would
months
love-
for most SPLOST 5, yes.
You said, excuse me?
Yeah, it'll be a number of months for SPLOST 5, but yes, we are in the process supporting the district in that process. Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lisa, did you get all your questions answered?
Those are my two questions. It was mainly regarding the reimbursements for 4 and just how where we stand with SPLOST 5.
Okay, great questions. Anybody else have any questions? All right, for our 2 new members, I know that it's a lot of information, and we went over it pretty quickly. We will be doing a training for the entire advisory committee so that we'll go over and we can discuss in detail what we need to be looking at and looking for, what these items are, and any red flags that we need to, again, pay attention to. So I know it's a little overwhelming as a new advisory committee member, but I promise you it will get better. Okay. All right, thank you very much, Mel.
Thank you, Chair Blakeney.
All righty, so we are now at number 8, facilities maintenance report.
Okay, I want to share my screen and talk a little bit about what we've been doing. All right, can everybody see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, we
Okay.
see it, Richard.
All right, so as y'all are probably aware, we had a few videos make the news on some of the conditions of the buildings. We did, I'd say the first one that came out was Druid Hills High School, followed by a few others. We went out weaving the facilities team, both Bobby Moncrief, myself, went and toured these facilities, and Bobby and his regional facilities managers went and toured the different facilities also. And one thing that we did, that Bobby has started doing, is he has had each of his facility managers visit each one of their facilities and start making a list similar to what to the one that you see here. This is for Druid Hills High School. So each of the regional managers have gone out. They walked there, or we started with high schools first. They walked each of their buildings. They made a list of deficiencies, things that they saw that needed to be done. Once they finished the high schools, we put it in a spreadsheet here where we are tracking the items that were found and what needs to be done. They moved on and did middle schools, and we're working on that currently. And we'll do the same thing. We'll put it in a spreadsheet like this where we can track But what I wanted to do today was just to go through and talk about the process that we're using, and the spreadsheet that we're looking at. And these items range. I'll say we put them in 3 priorities. First priority being things that are, we call it the low-hanging fruit. It's things that could be done quickly and be completed by June 30th, basically within 30 days. And you see some of the throughout campus. We repaired some brickwork at one of the retaining walls, things that are pretty quick. We then have things that are priority 2, which will take a little bit longer. These are 60 to 90 day time frame items. Some of them are already complete, like this one, mismatched lights. But we need new carpet in this particular room. So these are things that are going to take a little bit longer because our in-house staff can't do them, and we need to get a quote, and we're working on those now. And like I said, those are 60 to 90 day time frame items. And then we have some that are trying to find some category 3s. Our category 3s are items, and here's one that's already complete. These are larger major items that very likely will either be bundled as part of a larger capital improvement project, whether it's E-SPLOST funded, CARES funded, or just general funded, our maintenance fund. So these are longer term items that will require a budget, and we've used that same process throughout, like I said, all of the high schools, all of the middle schools, and then we'll do it throughout the elementary schools also. And the team is basically finding everything that, anything from ceiling repair that needs to be completed in the girls' restroom to rotten wood around outside overhang, anything that they saw that needed to be repaired. We come in, we put in comments and an updated status also of this. There are a number of these items that the plant engineer would take care of. There are a number of the items at some of the schools that the plant engineer should have taken care of already, but hadn't due to whatever reason. But we have gone in with our forces to assist to get the items completed. So I just wanted to go through a number of these schools. What I have here is the spreadsheet for the high schools. The spreadsheet for the middle schools is still in development. But just to show you the format that we have, you can see this, like this was Druid Hills, and there are 106 items total that were found. A number of those have been completed. As I scroll through pretty quickly there, every green bar you see is something that has been completed. And then what we've done, our project manager has gone in and has put in a chart for what trade the item or the deficiency is listed under. And then also has a bar chart for the priority 1, 2, and 3 items. So for priority 1, you can see there are 72 items. 58 of those have been completed. Of priority 2, there are 23 priority 2, 6 have been completed, and 10 of the 11 priority 1s have been completed. And then here you can see, so painting is 27% of the items, 13% is electrical or lighting, 12% is HVAC, 2% is flooring or carpet related, 8% is plumbing related, 1% is roofing, 1% is glazing, 24% carpenter, 6% custodial, and then a other category for all the other smaller minor pieces. So like I said, we've done this on every one of the high schools so far, and I can start at here is Chambly. Chambly, we have not been able to address as many of those right now, but we will be moving on to that school. Cross Keys, you can see we've gotten a few more items completed at Cross Keys, and not as many items were found there either. So at Cross Keys, there were 49 items that were found. So Dunwoody, again, there were 190 items found. We completed 53 of those. So you can see there's still a good bit of work to do, and we have our teams working on this. A number of these items here, there's some bulbs that were out or some damaged ceiling tiles that need to be replaced. And those are things that the plant engineer and the head custodians at the schools would normally address. Let's see, Lakeside. I'll start at the bottom here. So Lakeside, we're still working on a number of these items as well. Let me go to, let's say Clarkston. Here's Clarkston, 138 items. Of those 138, looks like 58 have been completed. But this is just our internal document that we're using to track when items are supposed to be completed, or what the latest information is on those. And this is also updated through today. So this was updated earlier this afternoon. Any questions?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, hey, or sorry, go ahead, Kathy, I had some too.
No, go ahead, Derek.
But, yeah, I got my work thing up there, but sorry about that. So, this is great and all, but how do we head off this problem, especially with all these SPLOST projects we've done and brand new buildings? Do y'all not have a procedure in place where teachers or staff in the building can report in work orders into CMS system or something like that? Or
we do. We have a work order system. Let's see. Let me go back to. I'll just pick one at random. All right. So I need to go back and verify. I'm not sure why the two schools I just looked at did not have any work orders listed, but like this first item, the band room, there's no AC, but there was not a work order placed for that. The first school that I looked at, Druid Hills, you can see in this column, I think at Druid Hills, I think there were yeah, there were 3 items.
So yeah, that goes to my question. Is it a matter, let's face it, hey, kids are hard on buildings. Is it a matter of the FMs are going to tour these buildings and, every so often to update these lists, or a better program for the occupants to make sure they're putting work orders in to get these items completed?
Yeah, and we're working on our work order system or program now. We're, of course, when SSE left last year, they took the system that they had been using with them, and what we've been converting to is our ERP system, Munis. That is something that we are now rolling out and training everyone in how to use that system. But even when a number of these items would have been something that they could have put in work orders only, even with the previous system. But also, as I showed, and I can't remember which school it was now, there are a number of items where, the plant engineer should be taking care of some of these items themselves also. And this listed everything from, if the team, as they were walking through, if they saw dirt along the edge of the wall, they would note that as well. So it was anything from light bulbs being out to replacing door hardware, replacing ceiling tiles, cleaning the floors, or air conditioner not working in a room. So it was more than some of the major items that our facilities guys would normally address. Like one of the schools had toilet seats that needed to be replaced, and that was something that once we were aware of it, we delivered those to the school. They were able to go in and start replacing where they needed to.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
Yep. I'm not sure where to start.
Oh, right. You go ahead, go first, Kathy.
Go ahead, Kimberly.
I have questions.
Okay, so I'm trying to come off video, but I guess my first question, there we go. I'm sorry, y'all. I would like to know, I'm gonna be honest, it's very concerning that all of these repairs that someone had to walk the system, and all of these repairs are in an Excel spreadsheet. And I do remember we did address the ticketing system, or the repair system. We addressed this several months ago. So it sounds like it's still not together. And my concern is resources that are being utilized to, I mean, it's an excellent spreadsheet, but if we have or should have some type of ticketing system, a system to report issues, why are we, with today's technology, using an Excel spreadsheet? And then do the repairs that are on here, do they cross, is there any overlapping between the two?
Well, I'd say only where there was a work order that was already put in. So, and like this one, number 11 here, there was a work order put in for that. After SSE left, and using let's see, it was Maintenance Connect was the name of the software. We did get a copy of what the open work orders were, and those were worked down. I think there were about 3,800 of them. They were worked down and completed. And during that time frame, because the district wanted to utilize the software that we had, the Munis software, the module that the developer or for that particular software needed to be refined so that it could do exactly the things that we needed it to do. And that has taken time to get that up and running. But during that time frame, we were using, yes, it was an Excel sheet where we would track requests from the custodians at the school, so that there wasn't ever a time where the custodians or the principals could not make a request or put a request in for items to be repaired. So those items were there. They just it's taken time to convert over back over to another electronic system.
So, and just as a,
and I'm sorry, and as a follow-up to that, then there are so many repairs like that are on the spread at the different schools that don't have a work order number. And so is it safe to assume that if the areas had not gone out and did a walk on each of the schools, would we have even known that these things were in array? So I guess my question to that is, whose responsibility is it to report issues? And looking at some of these schools based on the spreadsheet, no one has really been reporting these issues, some of which are safety.
Based on what, on some of the items that we have, I'd say yes, that's, it's something that my assumption, I haven't talked with the plant engineers or the custodians they were trying to get to and possibly had not been able to, or it could have been something that had, was relatively new that our guys just happened to see on the day they were out there. Dr. Tinsley, I see your hand up as well.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Boyd, and thank you, Ms. Creighton.
I'm sorry, Dr. Tinsley, if you can hold on for 1 second, because Richard, that didn't answer Kim's question. And I want to make sure that she gets her question answered, because those were some valid and very good questions. Because I didn't hear whose responsibility is it?
Well, it's always the school is the first line, the custodians and the plant engineers and the school staff is the first line when something breaks. If an air conditioner goes out, or if a classroom, if the lights don't come in the classroom, come on in the classroom, that's something that the local staff will address with their custodians and plant engineers. And if they can't resolve at that point, depending on what level it is, if the air conditioner stops working, that's not something we expect the a head custodian or a plant engineer to do, but they need to be the ones that let us know, if something like that is occurring. But if it's a matter of needing to change light bulbs in a classroom, then that's on the local school staff. But if it's a major item, then of course they're the ones in the building every day. They will be the ones that would put in the work order that would notify us that something needs to be done, or simply give a call as well.
I just,
Okay,
yeah,
Kim,
I just
did you
think
see
that,
your hand? I'm sorry, Kim, did you have a
no, I just wanted to, I wanted just a comment for the record. Maybe this is an area, and it could have been oversight by the schools. I know we are coming off a pandemic and people may not have been there, but this could be an opportunity to reiterate to the schools the importance of, letting what is, because if we're not told, you don't know what needs to be done.
Right.
And then we end up on the news. So it may something to be reiterated to the local schools that they need to communicate this stuff. I mean, that's a non-negotiable.
Yeah, and this list has been, it's been given to the regional superintendents for them to discuss with their local school staff.
That's it. That's all.
Okay,
Thank you.
No, I have questions. I know, Kathy, are you next? Or
No, hold on 1 second, Lisa, because we want to go to Dr. Tinsley, and then Kevin
I'm
has
sorry.
his hand up.
I'm sorry, Dr. Tinsley.
No problem. Thank you so much. I wanted to explain the spreadsheet that you see and just give you a little bit more context. This is not the spreadsheet that's used to report the issues. When we had the information come forth after the situations that reached the media, and when I came back to the district in the interim role, one of the things that I asked the team to do is go out to the schools and identify what it is that needs to be addressed. And then, of course, they identified through the 1, 2, 3 priority list, and they put all of this information on a spreadsheet. Now, the way that we use the spreadsheet, it is a cross-check, as Mr. Boyd mentioned, to those things that had previous work orders or work orders had been submitted. But the way we use this spreadsheet is that we meet weekly. I established a facilities task force, and we come together to look at each one of these spreadsheets that's created by school to determine what's identified and what has been covered week to week, as you see here with Druid Hills, things that are covered in green. So I wanted to mention that. I think you're 100% correct. This is an opportunity for a lot of lessons learned. And these are things that the team is working on so that we can be better, because, of course, these are concerns. And as I've shared with the team, safety and wellness, that's priority. Some of the other things may be cosmetic, and those things are important as well. But those things that truly impact the learning environment for the students and the staff, those are where we have our top areas of focus. So I just wanted to mention that. I didn't want us to leave this without you knowing that the spreadsheet is one that we monitor, and it's not just monitored by operations, but it's monitored from the superintendent's office on a weekly basis, so that we can make sure that we stay on top of this so that we can get these tasks accomplished. It didn't happen overnight, and all of the things may not be fixed overnight, but we are working to make sure that we get as many of them addressed as possible prior to the first of school.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Tinsley. Kevin?
Yeah, just a quick question on this spreadsheet in relation to, I was looking on the county's data dashboard, and it shows an open work orders of about 682. So how does that align with this spreadsheet here?
It doesn't necessarily align. As Dr. Tinsley was saying, these were items that our facilities team went out and identified in their walkthrough. Some of these items may have work orders already put in, but yeah, the two are two independent pieces of information.
I'm sorry, Lisa, you had a question?
Hello again. Yes, my question is, in lieu of everything that's happening, has there been personnel changes as far as at the plant engineer level and different things? How is that part being addressed?
There have not been, no, and I'll allow Dr. Tinsley to elaborate on that if she'd like to, but we're using this as a learning opportunity, an opportunity to train up the custodians and plant engineers to show them things that they might not have known in the past that they are supposed to be addressing, or might not have known how to actually perform some of the tasks. So we're seeing it more as an opportunity to train up and to correct as quickly as possible the issues, and then train the staff so they don't happen again.
And Mr. Boyd is absolutely correct. While we know that there are some things that we need to tighten up, and in the spirit of transparency, there's a lot that did not take place. And so what we're doing is working with the regional superintendents, who ultimately are the persons that work with the principals of the local school, who work with the plant engineers and the custodial staff to figure out where the gaps are. I will tell you, Ms. Wright, I think one of the things that we did discover is that we had quite a few vacancies. We had people that were not working, and some of this is the offset of the COVID, the pandemic. There were schools, some of our larger schools, that may have had 5 custodians assigned that were operating with maybe 2. So what we had to do was make sure that we talk to our building leaders to make sure they understand to sound the alarm, so that we can get them some assistance, so some of these things won't continue to just fester and fester. So that's the one thing that we're doing. But then also, Mr. Boyd mentioned that we are finding that training is a big issue. We have to make sure that some of these larger priority 2s and priority 3 things that need to be addressed, that the teams on site are equipped to address them so that they don't become the big items that we have to come in and triage after the fact. So again, we're working with the local staff, we're working with the regional superintendents, we're working with our facilities team, very honestly, because everybody, has some skin in this game. And so we have to figure out just where the gaps are and figure out how we train up so that we don't have this type of situation again.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions? Okay, now it's my turn. Go ahead, Sabrina.
I apologize for coming right at the last moment with the question, and it may have already been addressed, but this is in the spirit of equity, right? My question is about those who have the means can identify and contact media, but for the least of those, so for the walkthrough, did that happen at all of the schools?
It's happened
just
at,
the ones?
oh no, it's happened at all of the high schools and all of the middle schools.
Okay, all the high schools and all the middle schools.
So
Okay.
here is, I
Mr.
did not
Boyd, show
ask,
them one of the other charts, please, so that she can see
yeah.
that.
Which school? Let's look at here, Cedar Grove. So there were 27 items found at Cedar Grove. Of those 27, looks like 16 of the priority ones have been completed. And there were no priority 2s or 3s there. So you can see the ones that are finished. Things like the plant engineer needing attention at some floor tile, ceiling tile needs to be replaced. Chairlift, that one will take some work. That will need to, I personally, if it were me, I would say that is a priority 2, but we'll leave it as a priority 1. And they think they can, we'll finish that quickly. But that's McNair,
Okay.
Cedar Grove.
That's fine, Mr. Boyd. I just wanted to make sure because, my last child, of course, is in the oldest school in the building, the oldest school in the district, DeKalb School of the Arts. So I know that I have had to reach out regarding concerns being expressed at Principals Council, but I guess it making it up the chain, not determining that it was actually something of concern, like the gas issue that I reached out to you directly about. So I just wanted to make sure, even though there are cadres of people who are able to mobilize the media, all need to be included for
Right,
possible
exactly.
issues. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay. I have a grave concern. Of all of the comments that were made, this is really discerning to me because it looks like something has gotten out of hand while nobody was watching. And Kim asked a great question, whose responsibility is it? And I would really truly like to know that, because this is a concern. Kids can't, our scholars cannot learn in a poor environment, just like our teachers cannot teach in a poor environment. So this is just basic maintenance to stuff. And a lot of things that I saw, like a cracks in the mirror. Well, did nobody notice the cracks in the mirror, or what happened? Where was the breakdown is what I'm asking, I guess. that's what I'd like to know. Where was the breakdown? And I know previously, I think it was about this time last year, maybe it was in 2020, when Stevenson Middle School had the issue of mold in their building. And I had previously asked, I wanted follow-up on that. You know, we had follow-up, I think a couple of months and then nothing. So I still want to know about that. And if a walkthrough was done at Stevenson Middle School, I don't see it. I saw Stevenson High School. I didn't see Stevenson Middle School.
Yeah, well, as I had said, the spreadsheet for the middle school is still being developed. So it wouldn't be on this list.
Okay, well then I would anticipate that we not say that a walkthrough was done when it's not documented of all the middle schools.
Oh. Well, they were all done. It's just the work is still underway.
Okay, well, all of this work is still underway, is it not?
Right, yes. No,
Yeah.
I mean, right. Yeah, they're both underway.
So I would think that I'd like to see this same spreadsheet, but I want to see the middle schools.
And we can get that for you, Ms. Blakely.
Mhm.
That's not a problem.
Great.
That has been done. That is, yes, ma'am. That is something that we've asked for to make sure that we have it documented, not just a walkthrough, but that we can have something that we're actually able to track and trace. But meanwhile, I've taken notice of the request or the information you shared regarding Stevenson Middle School, and I'll look at that chart specifically for that.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem at all. And same to you, Ms. McTier. I have your concern listed as well.
And again, I want everybody on the committee to understand the reason that we're looking at these types of issues is because we're putting some major money into these buildings and we don't want to have to do this again. I'm always of the mindset, once and done. We want to do it once and then we want to maintain what's there. So Sarah, you had a question?
Hi, yeah, I'm sorry I'm off camera. I have somehow gotten COVID for the second time and I'm not looking camera ready. But I do have a quick question for Mr. Boyd. I know you said it earlier, but can you clarify who was on the teams that did the walkthroughs at the high school and how often they would typically have been in these schools were it not for these, special crisis walkthroughs?
So the Bobby Moncrief was he was on some of the initial schools. I don't believe that he went through each and every of the high schools. He has tasked the regional facility managers to check their own schools. So, but I do know when we first started getting the video of Druid Hills, it was myself and Bobby, and then 3 or 4 of the facility managers, so he could walk them through, show them what to look for before he let them work on their own individual schools. So it's each facility, of course, each region has a facility manager. They walk through. I don't know at every school. I don't know if it was just the facility manager by themselves or if a few of them got together and kind of shared responsibility. So since they're doing all the schools, once Bobby kind of showed them how to or what to look for, what he would look for, he put them or let them do their own schools. As far as how often they're in the schools, I don't know that there's a set frequency. I know that they are in the buildings, all the buildings frequently, as they all have various projects in there that they have to go and check on. But I don't know that they walk through every high school once a week kind of thing. I think it is based on a project need.
Thank you. Yeah, I would be curious to know, just as a matter of course, if there is a guideline about how often a regional facilities director is supposed to be visiting all of the schools that are
Yeah.
in their assigned region.
And I'll check with Bobby and we'll get that information.
Hey, Richard,
Can I say something?
That's sorry, go ahead. I didn't raise my hand. Go ahead.
I didn't raise mine either. I'm sorry. So here's where I am. Let me come off camera. Here's where I am, like, for real, Richard. And I'm just saying this, I'm naming you because you're in this position now. We have had a conversation, I can't remember when, but we've had a conversation about the maintenance, about being proactive with these schools. And I don't know, board help me, I don't know, when it was. So my concern, and I understand we're working on it now, but is there a real plan in place going forward that we are not 6 months down the line looking at another spreadsheet with repairs on it? Because there hasn't general basic, that's just like in your home, there are general basic deferred maintenance items that need to be done. And I'm just so floored with the list and some of the things that I see, like a light bulb. And I know we're coming off of a pandemic, but some of this stuff, it appears to be pre-pandemic. And I just want to make sure for the sake of our students that there is a plan in place, deferred maintenance, just to make sure that we're proactive with this. Is there someone going to the schools, making sure that the light bulbs are, all of the lights are operational? Do you, I don't know, what is it? I just want to make sure we're not revisiting this same type of conversation in 6 months.
Yeah, so there is a plan in place to hire additional, some additional staff that would assist the regional managers. There is a good bit of work as far as procuring services and getting agreements signed and making sure invoices are paid and such. And so we are looking at some of those positions in the upcoming budget that will provide them more time to get out into the building. But as I said before too, the eyes and ears of the in the building, the custodian, the principals, the plant engineers are the ones that could also or should also alert us to anything that would happen I'll say in the in-between times. If a facilities manager is in one particular school once a week, if they are there on Monday and Tuesday, there's an issue, then we don't want to wait until the following Monday. We want the school to let us know immediately that there's an issue. So there is some education and discussions that need to go on with the schools as well.
And to make it easy, because clearly there's not a maintenance ticket system that's in place, but you also need to make it easy for them to report it and not problematic.
Exactly.
Because if I'm on that end, I'm gonna be honest, if I'm on that end and I'm a principal or something and I need to report something, if I got to go through a bunch of hoops, or if it's too difficult for me to even report something, then I'm like, right, wrong, and it may be wrong. It's going to make it more difficult for the little small, hey, I got a light bulb out here or what have you. So as you or as the county is reviewing maintenance ticketing systems, we need to make sure that there's going to be an ease for the end user to report those.
Right. Exactly.
So can I get in there real quick? I want to make sure I'm clear on the statement. Let me turn my camera on. So is it that we don't have a ticketing system? Because that confuses me, because I look at the DeKalb County website and they're saying that we've got tickets. You've got work orders out there. What's the what here?
So yeah, no, there is one. We're using the Munis system that is being rolled out. The in-between time between when SSC left back in the early fall, and now we've been developing that work order system. I say the software company has been developing that work order system, and we've been using basically a manual system where those items have either been emailed in or called in, and we've had staff here entering those into a spreadsheet and then dispersing those to the regional managers so the work could be sent to the different technicians that needed them. So no, there is a system.
There's a system, but it's in transition. It's not a fully
Right.
functioning
It's in
system.
transition. Right.
It's not a fully functioning system, right?
Right.
Okay.
So
Hey,
at what
Richard,
point-
can you, since I do this every day too for a living, what I do for my clients, and even I'm a little confused. Can you put something together that goes through the life cycle of a work order? Who's responsible for it, how it gets entered, how it gets responded to? And I know that dealing with this stuff too, that'll help me, and I think everybody else on the committee too.
All right. Yeah, we'll work on that.
And this
Thank
is
you.
Lisa again. So just like he mentioned, if we said at what percentage are we at that transfer of manual to new system?
I would have to say 75% to 90% really, because we're in the training phase now.
And my other questions regarding personnel, we mentioned that there was, understaffing. And I guess one thing I'm not clear about and would love to be clear about is how is that being addressed? Did any of the pandemic money help you address that? And just where we are as far as looking at the positions that are, priority to be filled versus how many are still open?
So there is I guess a couple of things. There are a number of positions that are currently open and advertised through our HR department. There's also been more positions requested through our budget, which the board will be reviewing that and hopefully approving that in the upcoming weeks. As far as the exact number, I don't have that information. HR really is the one that handles that.
I would love to know just when we, what would make DeKalb County feel they're staffed correctly so that we can, like I said, maintain and manage the work orders and the needs.
Yeah. See, Dr. Tinsley just came on with her hand up, and actually Sarah's hand has been up for a while also, but did you want to add response to that, Dr. Tinsley?
Yes, I just wanted to share that one of the things that we're looking at through the budgeting process is we're looking at those positions that best touch the school and touch the buildings. So while there are a lot of personnel requests that come, through from all areas of the district, we are focusing and putting priority on those jobs that we need to help us get these types of tasks done. And so that's one of the things that we actually met today to look at some of the personnel requests, and those things like your plumbers, your carpenters, your custodial staff, electrical, HVAC, flooring, and painters. Those are the positions that we're placing emphasis on. And because we know that we need those people, and we need a lot of those people to help us get this work done.
Dr. Tinsley, that all sounds great, but along with identifying those positions, you need a plan to get the resources. So if you don't have a plan to get the resources wherever these technicians and painters and HVAC people are, repair people are, okay, you've identified the positions as touches the school, but now what?
I'm sorry, I don't understand that statement.
it means that what is the plan to get the resources? Where are you getting these people? Where are you going?
Okay.
Where are you going
Okay.
to potentially get these people to
So,
fill these jobs?
okay, I understand. I missed something. One of the things that we're doing, we're holding the job fairs. We're out there trying to recruit. We're looking at going to locations, training, I don't like to use the word training, but schools, specialized technician schools to recruit persons to come to the district. So once we get the people in the district, that will be the resource that we need to be able to dispatch to the schools when some of those highly technical needs are requested by the schools through the work orders or through the facilities managers. So I think I'm answering your question. We need the people. So while we understand that we have to have the dispatchers and the people to monitor and the people to tell us where the issues are, one of our big problems is we don't have some of the people that we need. And that's a lot. There's a lot that comes with that. It's finding the talent. It is transparently salary, competitiveness. And so those are things that we're looking at to see what we can do to kind of lessen that gap. Because while that's not the total reason that we have the spreadsheets that look like they do, I do believe and we do agree that part of it is that we have gaps in some of those areas where the work needs to be done for a district our size.
Okay, thank you. But I would love to see a plan on how those open positions are going to be filled. We are down to about 5 minutes. Sabrina, if you have a quick question, please ask it. But we need to kind of move this agenda along because we've been stuck.
Very important topic. Thank you so much, Chair, for giving me this brief moment. I know that we've talked about this multiple months and months and months, because Richard, I think I remember months ago, I said when you were in a previous position that, you know, you really needed the support, the budgetary resource support. So the only thing that I offer, which has been mentioned in prior months, relate to your standby contract. So while you all are working on recruitment and retention of these important positions, I would implore the financial office or your contracts or whomever, do you all need an increase in spending authority for your standby contractors for this work to help to speed this along while you are working to maintain? Can there be salary savings from these vacancies to be reprogrammed for the efforts towards professional services? There are multiple ways to get to the finish line, but you know, you all should have some salary savings built up at this point due to those vacancies, and whether or not, you know, it's allowable through board approval, soundings, whatever, to be reprogrammed for possibly some standby purposes. But yeah, we're kind of, I won't beat the horse. However, you know, we've talked about this multiple times, and I do implore, as a person that is, you know, dealing with county government and finances, that please put it in your budget. You know, please put it in your budget, but in the interim, please put it in your budget and advocate. But in the interim, maybe you could look at increasing the spending authority for your standby contracts and possibly moving some salary savings to go towards the operations to help bring these people in to fulfill these work orders while you, in tandem, work on the recruitment and the retention piece.
Okay.
Okay, that was a lot of information, a lot of good discussion. So I hear, excuse me, I hear it, and am going to, at our next meeting, a lot of time for it because it needs follow up. Let me share my screen real quick. We are under new business. Notification of upcoming community meetings and other events. I'm not sure if there are any.
There are not.
Okay. B, the interim superintendent's visit or appointment with the committee, and she has now visited with the committee, which is great. And her presence here has been very, very good. Non-C committee members training session. The leadership team will work with DSD, the DeKalb County School System, to get that training done. So more additional information will follow. Unfinished business. We still do have a candidate, an open position for space on the committee. Wanted to get a follow-up on that, but we will table that until the next meeting. Collection of recommendations. The only recommendation that I heard was from Derek, the work order life cycle, and I thought that was a great suggestion. And we are down to 12. Any announcements from the committee? Or any announcements for the committee?
Did we, last time, or in the last couple months, have we talked about when they, or when we would want to start back face-to-face? Are we still pushing that off until fall, or?
Yeah, I don't know about for anybody else, but the numbers are, for me, what I'm hearing, they're not reporting any numbers because a lot of people are taking home tests, but the numbers are still going up. So I don't feel comfortable in being in a room together just yet. I don't know how anybody else feels. So
I concur.
Concur. Anecdotally, I've just got it again. So, yes, concur. No in person, please.
okay. So let's evaluate that in the fall, like September, October, if that's okay.
That's fine.
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Daniel?
I said that's fine.
Okay, great. Any other announcements? All right, I'm not going to beat a dead horse, so I'm going to skip over 12A. It is now 7:31 and our meeting is for June 22nd is now adjourned. Thank you, everybody. This has been great discussion. Please continue to be safe, and we will see each other next month on July 27th. Please mark your calendars, and thank you for showing up and being on time.